Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm the one they call Peachy Pie, and you are most welcome to join me here. Okay, so today we're gonna get straight in to making a CV, which is today more focused on if you've been out of the workforce for a long time, like if you've been a stay-at-home mom, and I've got some tips to help you make a professional-looking CV to get you hired ASAP. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we've got a fictional person called Patricia Warren. She has 1 year's worth of retail experience. She's taken a 4-year hiatus from any type of formal career to look after her daughter. She's got a high school bachelor's pass, and she has a background of extensive volunteer activity, and she's a chairman of the governing body at her daughter's school. So this is how I would make a CV for Patricia, even though Patricia has maybe been out of work for a period of time. Um, I'm not going to do all the cute formatting stuff that I would do. I'm going to do it in purple just because for the heck of it. So this would be CV. I wouldn't do CV, I would do curriculum. Okay. Just because it looks a lot more formal. Of Patricia Warren. Okay, so that's how I would start out her CV, and then we'd have I like to put personal information in the front, and I will highlight it in bold. Let me change this back to the color. I'll keep it in black for now. I have used colors on my CV because they just make it stand out a little bit. I do not recommend using lots of bright colors because it's gonna look unprofessional. But yeah, so let's start out with that personal information. And you could, if you don't have a lot of things to put on your CV, you can do nice things like underline and just make it look fancy, pop it in bold, maybe change the font. Try not to make things like curly fonts or cutesy fonts because you're not going to get a good response for that. So we have Patricia's ID number. Let's take that. ID 13456 whatever. Okay, this Patricia's ID number, address. I like to line these up just for neatness sake. So she's like number 1, Norway Street, Norway Road. These would obviously all be capitalized, blah blah blah. And then you'd have information like dependents. What I normally do is I would keep all of the formal information together. So you want to keep like your ID and your address together, and then you want to put in like your dependents, your nationality, yeah, and all those kind of things. Another thing is you should put in the languages that you speak. So it would be English. What I like to do is I like to do a little thing where I pop a bracket here and I go like native in English, and then like in Afrikaans, so basic, and then I'll pop French as well because I am learning French currently. French. Let's go. Yeah. So that's Patricia, that's some of her basic information. You'd obviously add a little bit more things here and keep them all together. Like I have put vaccination on my own CV. I've been vaccinated with Pfizer. I've made a couple videos about it already. I don't know what this about it, right? Pfizer. Yeah, there we go. Okie dokie. So this is just some of the information that I would put on the CV, and let's say dependence is 1, nationality South African, just because I don't feel like looking for anything else. So yeah, so I'd start with personal information. Now because Patricia's been out of work for quite some time, she's taken this 4-year hiatus, I don't want to start with having Patricia's work as the first thing a potential employer could see, Because they'd be like, the last time you worked is like 8 years ago, Patricia. You know what I mean? So I would do schooling and education, or I think I would do education and training. Most likely I would be highlighting these kind of things. I did personal information to that side and I made it black, and it was, you want to also try for consistency in your CV, because it just looks a lot more formal and a lot more consistency is important. And then let's try and draw some attention to Patricia's schooling. But since she has extensive volunteer activity, I've added the volunteer activity underneath like her work experience. So because she's also chairman of the governing body at her daughter's school, I would put that under work experience, and therefore I would feel a lot more confident to put work experience as the first thing, in Patricia's CV. However, because I just want to illustrate this, especially specifically for like stay-at-home moms that have not really felt or thought that they've been doing anything for a couple of years. I also did this. Let's say aged 4, just for example. Yeah. This is a little bit informal here, but it's just it serves its purpose. So Patricia's got a high school bachelor's pass. Let's say she went to Nowhere High School. I like using tab for some indents, just so that it gives your CV a little bit more like variation. So let's say Nowhere High School, and then something like graduated 2015, just for example. And then so just something along those lines. It's even better if you add more information about yourself. You can say graduated 2015 with bachelor's pass. And since she's got no other experience, I can also mention chairman of the RCL. I could mention that she was a prefect. Prefect or head girl, whatever, So let's just put prefect there for now. Prefect. So she was a prefect for 2015, and then in accordance with this, around here, I would also put probably right under here, because or nearest to where the high school graduation is, any sort of awards that she got for that. I think the most important thing for someone looking at her CV to see was that she graduated in 2015. So I would say awarded dedication and, for example, dedication and consistency. Yeah, and let's say, like just these kind of things. School spirit award, stuff like that. Just because it's gonna fill up the CV and show that Patricia's got some skills in the background there, man. And then what we do is we go to let's just, for example, this is for the education and training that she has, right? Then we would go to work experience. I'd like to have it. Oh man, that's more. Sorry. It's good to be consistent. Just like okay. So in this section, I would include that. I should just change the color of this just for funsies. But yeah, I would be capitalizing all the things that need to be capitalized. Don't worry. This is just an example CV. So, oh, I should pop 2 doses here. 2 doses. Something along those lines. For those who don't like to get vaccinated or haven't gone to get vaccinated, a good idea would be to like don't include "I'm not vaccinated, I don't believe in it" in your CV. Just leave it out. Anything that you don't have, leave it out. You don't need to tell them what you don't have. You need to tell them what you do have when you're busy doing your CV. Okay. So with work experience, in this regard, let's call the little girl's school, because this is the most important role that Patricia has played in the last 4 years or so, chairman of the governing body at her daughter's school. So let's call her daughter's school maybe Little Sunflowers. I don't know, let's call it Krish. There's a little thingy bob in the E, I believe, but I'm not gonna do all that now. You want to make sure that you do that for your own CV so that it looks important and it looks like legitimate. And let's do some indents. I'm not a big fan of these little things. I suppose I could bullet it later. Just whatever looks more formal. But you see there's like quite a nice flow to the CV. I need to highlight that. Maybe underline. I try not to underline too much because it takes away the impact of the one thing that you're looking at. It's nice and clean like that. Also, I like to increase the size of like the most important things, and then for like spaces, I will shrink the size all the way down so that I can have a space there, but it's just not taking up too much space on the CV because you only have 2 pages to tell someone what the heck you've been doing your whole damn life. It's dumb, but okay, we'll work with it. It's the way of the world. Okay, here we go. So very quickly, we're gonna do her work experience. Chairman of the school governing body, or we can just say of the governing body. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And then what I do is I list duties underneath it, right? Oops, caps locks instead of that. So I would say duties, and I would say attending meetings. You would probably want to make sure that this is all neat and all tabbed and everything in accordance with how you want your CV to look. But yeah, we can move that over there. And be like attending, let's not say attending, let's say hosting, because as the chairman, she'll probably be hosting meetings, recording actions, following up on actions, you know, like those kind of things. What else does a chairman do? I can't remember. I haven't been on like school board stuff in ages. Yeah, so you know, you would do anything that you have as a particular role that is, you know, for your current role that you're doing, like literally anything. And it also depends on the job that you're applying for. Let's say Patricia is applying for a customer service job, then her CV should reflect that she's applying for a customer service job, which means that even if she was hosting and recording meetings, if that's not going to display customer service principles, I would not put that on Patricia's CV. So what I would do is I would say chairing meetings and hosting discussions, you know, just to show that like those kind of skills I feel would reflect a lot better on customer service, you know, because it shows that she's been in not just in an authoritative role, especially if she's applying for a supervisory position or any of those kind of things, but you know, it just gives it a little bit more formality in my opinion. So yeah, and you'd want to like bullet and stuff like that. Okay, that's not the thing I wanted to bullet, but it's fine. You know, what else did Patricia do? Um, following up on actions, adjusting the school constitution. I wouldn't necessarily all put it in this way because you have to revise your CV over and over again just to make sure that it looks good, that it sounds right. And then, as chairman of the governing body, they would have spoken about school fees and things of learners that can't afford to pay the school fees. So I would add some of those things in there to show, that you want your personality to come out in your CV, but like your care and all that stuff. Okay, so the last thing that we're gonna do on Patricia's CV is we're gonna add a little section for where she worked. Let's say she worked in a retail shop. So I'm not gonna put any name of any retail stores here. I don't want to get into trouble for any reason. So we're just gonna call the place that she worked for retail store. So once again, a reminder that Patricia is trying to apply for a job in customer service. So what I would do with Patricia's CV is we're first gonna list the positions that she held at the store. Let's say her latest position was supervisor. See, we're already on the second page, but we've got all this information from Patricia on the first page. But yeah, so if necessary, you can oh, there's another space there. Yeah. If necessary, you can make certain things smaller, you can make certain things bigger. Bigger it is, the more space it uses up though. So bear that in mind. Smaller it is, the more weird it's gonna look. So as a supervisor, her duties would be she supervised. But in all seriousness, as a supervisor, Patricia's duties would have involved managing. What am I doing? Managing small team of 5 people. She would have done point of sales commissions, solving customer anything that's really gonna add to not just her leadership skills, but also gonna add to like really just displaying that Patricia is a customer service focused individual and that her career displays that. Another thing that I would do is I perhaps might save space by doing it in this format where instead it's a paragraph, not necessarily continuous prose, but just depicting Patricia's work history in that way. And then yeah, okay, so very quickly we're just gonna overlook Patricia's CV. I know this video has been taking a while, but so we've got, remember Patricia, she has 1 year of retail experience, has taken a 4-year gap, high school bachelor's pass, has extensive volunteer activity, chairman on the governing body at her daughter's school, right? So this is a CV, personal information goes at the top, and then education and training, forgot to add the year. I should do that. I also prefer to add the year 2015, if that's when the main things that you did at that particular institution happened. I like to add it to the top so that it's easier for the person browsing the CV to see and they don't just see a bunch of numbers everywhere, So there's her work experience. She's the chairman of the governing body, blah 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 blah, and we're making sure that the CV reflects the job that she's after. Now if you keep a very generalized CV like this, you can get away with applying for a bunch of different jobs, but that's not necessarily always the case, and any job that you have your eye on, like specifically, you should go into your CV and make sure that your CV, all the different particular roles that you've done, really consistently reflect exactly what this company is looking for. So if the ad for the job that she's applying for says, we are looking for an individual who has dedication and consistency, you'd pop up a little thing on your CV when you've got a little space at the bottom, and it says core skills. And in your core skills, first thing you're going to mention, dedication and consistency. That's all. And then you would do, for example, because it's customer service, you would do customer service focused. Depending on if you work in an office or not, maybe at a call center, you would say 48 words per minute typing speed. You can do a couple typing tests online, etc. Another good thing to add is adaptable. Another good thing to add is works independently and as a team. Or if you want to say that in a nicer way, you could say appreciates collaborative efforts or whatever, or collaborative attempts. These are just all the things that will make your CV look nice and spiffy, especially if you have been off the job market for quite some time. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I do apologize that this video is so long, but I think that for somebody that's maybe a little bit intimidated to start up looking for work again because you've had a leave of absence for a very long time, the very first thing that I could tell you is try and get some experience doing something somewhere. You can start a YouTube channel because that is a lot of stuff that you will learn while being a YouTuber, or you can take a short course on a site like Allison or Google Digital Skills. Has free courses as well. Not all of them have a certificate though, and a lot of these kind of companies, they will request that you pay for the certificate at the end of your study. However, you can perhaps email them and ask them if they can just mail you proof that you did the particular course, and then you can pay for your certificate when you can afford it. So those are some of the things that I would recommend, because like 2015 was a very, very long time ago, and I can understand why Patricia might feel like, oh my word, I've only had work in 2015, or I've only had, let's say she worked in the retail store in 2016, because if she graduated in 2015, so it's like 6 years ago, and now this is what she's currently doing, so that will be 2022. I might actually just do something like 4 years ago, 2018 to present, something like that. But yeah, so this is gonna be like a basic CV for anybody starting up again. Just try and fill up your CV with more recent things, because that's a big concern for when your CV is kind of empty. So even if you can't be chairman of a governing body, if there's a local organization that you can volunteer at, they will also give you recommendations for when you have a job. It's good to have recommendations, especially if you don't have access to your previous supervisors or managers and they're not working at the company anymore. It's good to get recommendations through volunteering. Also, you can do, like I said, a short course or something online which will help improve your CV. But yeah, that's all that I've got to say. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic day further, and yeah, thanks again. Cheers. Take care of yourself. Bye. 그대 잠깐 눈을 붙일 때 나는 마음에 불을 붙여요. 비밀의 나만의 초콜릿